Stop crying over the people God just saved you from. You're sitting in the dark, staring at a silent phone, wondering why your circle is shrinking, why your best friend became a stranger, or why the person you loved most suddenly turned into your greatest enemy. You think you're being punished. You think you're losing. You are wrong. What you are experiencing is a spiritual extermination. God is performing a high-level security sweep of your life because you are carrying a chosen frequency that is about to attract a level of wealth and power that your current circle is literally programmed to sabotage. If you don't watch this until the very last second, you will keep trying to fix connections that God has already marked for destruction. You are inviting the devil to your table just because you're afraid to eat alone. I am going to reveal the 10 terrifying reasons why God is isolating you right now. If you ignore these laws, you won't just stay lonely, you will stay broke, siphoned, and blind to your own throne. The surgery is painful, but the infection was going to kill your destiny. It's time to stop mourning the trash and start reigning with the king. Chapter 1. The vampire in your bed, the predatory cost of kindness. The most dangerous predators in your life don't arrive with claws and a growl. They arrive with a warm smile, a soft voice, and a need that only you can fill. As a chosen soul, you possess a rare spiritual glow. It is the raw energy of creation, a high-frequency vibration of favor and untapped ambition. You see it as your personality, but to the broken and the bitter around you, that light is loot. There are individuals in your circle right now who are spiritual vampires. They aren't interested in your heart, they are interested in your access. They stay close to you because they've realized that as long as they are in your orbit, they can siphon off the overflow of the miracles meant for you. They feed on your optimism because they are too lazy to generate their own. Look closely at the people who claim to be your ride or die. Notice the micro-expressions on their faces when you share a victory. Notice how they get strangely quiet when you win, or how they immediately pivot the conversation back to their own problems. This isn't just insecurity, it is a subconscious predatory instinct to keep you at their level. They need you to stay relatable and broken, because if you actually become the king or queen you were born to be, they can no longer use you as a spiritual battery. They love the struggling version of you because it makes them feel superior. God is removing them because you are too nice to see the fangs behind the smile. He is performing a violent, non-consensual extraction because if he doesn't pull them out now, they will eventually sabotage the very breakthrough you've been praying for. You're crying over a loss, but in the halls of heaven, God is celebrating a successful exorcism of your social circle. These people were anchors disguised as sails, and if God didn't cut the rope, they would have eventually dragged your entire destiny to the bottom of the ocean. The loneliness you feel is simply the silence that follows the removal of a parasite. Chapter 2. The cancer of mediocrity, the war on your ambition. Ambition is a silent threat to those who have given up on themselves. When you decide to stop being average, you inadvertently hold up a terrifying mirror to everyone around you. Your drive makes them feel small. Your discipline makes them feel lazy. Your faith makes their excuses look like the lies they truly are. Because most people are unwilling to do the work to rise to your level. Their only psychological survival mechanism is to pull you back down to theirs. This is the crab in a bucket protocol, and it is the most common form of social cancer. The dark side of human nature is that your friends would often rather see you fail than see you fly past them and leave them behind. They will mask their sabotage as concern or practicality. They will tell you to be realistic, don't get your hopes up, or remember where you came from. This is a spiritual toxin designed to infect your resolve and paralyze your movement. They want to keep you in the waiting room of life with them because misery loves company. But greatness requires solitude. God is clearing the room because you cannot build a skyscraper with people who have basement-level minds. He is removing the weight of their collective doubt before it crushes your wings. Every person God removes right now is a dead weight that was strategically placed by the enemy to keep you grounded. If you want to reach the heights of your divine ambition, you must be willing to be the villain in the stories of those who are allergic to your growth. The isolation isn't a prison, it's a decontamination chamber. God is scrubbing the scent of average off your spirit so that when you enter the rooms of power, you don't smell like the people you left behind. Chapter 3. The Betrayal Blueprint, the Necessary Scar. You think betrayal is an accident or a cruel twist of fate. But in the kingdom of the chosen, it is a tactical requirement. You are being prepared for a level of authority where blind loyalty is a death sentence. God allows a Judas into your inner sanctum, someone you trusted with your secrets, your money, and your heart, to give you the one thing you cannot learn in a book: spiritual discernment. You needed to feel the cold steel of the knife in your back so that you would finally learn to stop giving holy information to unholy people. Betrayal is the black vaccine of the soul. It is agonizing in the moment, but it makes you permanently immune to the manipulation and gaslighting of the world. The person who betrayed you didn't win. They were simply a tool, a spiritual scalpel, used by the divine to eject you from a comfort zone that was slowly becoming your spiritual graveyard. You were far too loyal to leave on your own. So God made the environment so toxic and the betrayal so deep that you had no choice but to run toward your destiny with tears in your eyes. Every scar from a betrayal is actually a medal of honor on your spirit. It proves that you have been tested in the darkest fires of human nature and you did not break. God is isolating you to show you that the only person who can truly carry the weight of your vision is you and Him. This trauma is the very thing that forces you to develop the solitary strength of a ruler. A king who has never been betrayed is a king who is easily toppled. By allowing you to be left alone, God is making you untouchable. Stop asking why they left. Start thanking the Father that they took their poison with them before you reached the throne. Chapter 4. The Financial Filter, Protecting the Harvest. God will often strip your social circle bare right before He pours out a massive, life-altering financial blessing. This is a cold, strategic financial filter. In the spiritual realm, money is an amplifier. It makes a good person better and a bad person more dangerous. If you still have spiritual parasites, leaking vessels, or entitled shadows in your life when the millions arrive, those people will siphon off your wealth before you can ever use it for your divine purpose. They will show up with fabricated emergencies, can't miss investments, and a sense of entitlement that suggests they deserve your harvest simply because they watched you plant the seeds. The dark truth is that most of the people currently in your circle cannot handle your success. They are comfortable with you as long as you are struggling together. But the moment your bank account surpasses theirs, their secret resentment will turn into a weapon. They will guilt-trip you for your growth and try to make you feel ashamed of your abundance. God is protecting your future assets by removing the people who would mismanage them or steal them through emotional manipulation. He is ensuring that when the rain of abundance falls, it lands in a clean, fortified container. If you are lonely right now, it's because God is preparing you to handle wealth without the interference of those who didn't sweat with you in the field. He is filtering your circle so that your net worth doesn't become a bullseye for those who only love you for your net value. When the wealth hits, you won't have to wonder who is real and who is a fake. The filter has already done the work for you. You are being isolated so that your empire is built on a foundation of divine partners, not financial leeches. Trust the void. It is the space where your fortune is being secured. Chapter 5. The Law of Expired Grace, Drinking from a Poisoned Well. Everything in the kingdom has a season, and some relationships come with an explicit expiration date. The tragedy is that many chosen souls are trying to drink milk that has already turned into poison. When the grace for a connection has expired, God will cause friction, tension, and inexplicable heaviness to arise. The conversations that used to be easy now feel like a chore. The jokes aren't funny anymore. You feel an overwhelming sense of boredom or irritation when you think about them. This isn't you being mean. This is the law of expired grace in action. If you try to hold on to what God is trying to release, that relationship will become a leak in your spirit. You are wasting precious emotional currency on a dead investment. Many people miss their new season because they are too busy trying to perform CPR on their last season. God is a God of the living, not the dead. If the grace is gone, Let the person go. When you force a connection that has expired, you are essentially telling the Creator that your judgment is better than His. You are clinging to a corpse, and eventually, the decay will start to rub off on you. God is removing these people because their presence in your life is now an illegal entry. They were meant to be a bridge to where you are, not a destination for where you're going. If you stay on the bridge too long, you'll never reach the other side. The dark side of this law is that you have to be willing to be the bad guy. You have to be willing to let people think you've changed or that you're too big for your boots. Let them think what they want. Your loyalty belongs to your calling, not to the comfort of people who are no longer aligned with your frequency. Chapter 6. The Mirror Effect, the Violent Face-Off. Sometimes, the divine sweep happens because you have been using other people as a drug to avoid looking at yourself. This is the mirror effect. As long as you have a social circle to complain to, a partner to obsess over, or a group of friends to distract you with drama, you don't have to face the wounds, the fears, and the terrifying lack of discipline inside your own soul. You've been using people noise to drown out the spirit voice that is calling you to a higher standard. God clears the room so that you are forced into a violent face-off with the person in the mirror. He wants you to see that the reason you keep attracting the same type of Judas is because of a vibration of trauma inside of you that needs to be healed. He is taking away your audience so you can finally see that your performance hasn't been for him, it's been for them. The isolation is a divine mirror. In the quiet, your flaws become deafening, your procrastination becomes visible, your lack of self-love becomes an undeniable ache. This is a painful but necessary stage of spiritual surgery. You cannot reign over an empire until you have reigned over the shadows in your own heart. God is forcing you to become your own best friend, your own coach, and your own cheerleader. He is stripping away the crutches of human validation so that when you finally stand, you are standing on your own 2 feet, anchored in His power alone. Embrace the mirror. It is the only way to true, unshakable transformation. The man or woman who can look at their own darkness and not blink is a person the devil can never defeat. Chapter 7. The Secret Place Security, the Classified Download. Not everyone is qualified to hear your next move. One of the most dangerous mistakes a chosen soul can make is sharing a palace dream with someone who has a peasant mindset. When God is about to give you a high-level strategy, a business breakthrough, a creative invention, or a spiritual shift, He will move you into total isolation to ensure information security. The people currently in your circle might love you, but they are leaky vessels. They don't have the spiritual capacity to contain the weight of what God is telling you. The dark reality is that premature exposure leads to spiritual miscarriage. If you tell a small-minded person about your big world vision, their doubt, skepticism, and realistic advice act like a slow-acting toxin. They will kill the seed before it even has a chance to sprout. They will plant seeds of, what if it fails, in the soil of your, what if it works? God shuts your doors and mutes your phone because He is keeping your plans top secret until they are strong enough to withstand the wind of public opinion. Privacy is a power move. In this silence, God is performing a classified download into your spirit. He is giving you the blueprints that are meant for your hands only. If He allowed others to stay, they would try to edit God's plan to fit their comfort zone. God is isolating you to protect the integrity of the vision. He is teaching you that the most powerful movements are born in the dark. In the secret place, where the only validation you need is the well done of the Creator. Stop feeling lonely. Start feeling classified. You are in a divine briefing room, and the door is locked for a reason. Chapter 8. The Vulture versus the Eagle, the Altitude of Survival. You are an eagle, but you've spent years trying to convince vultures to fly at your altitude. This is a fatal error. The dark side of human nature is that vultures only show up when something is dead, dying, or decaying. They thrive on past tense conversations. They love to talk about old traumas, how things used to be, and the mistakes of others. They feed on the carcass of the past. But an eagle is a predator of the future tense. An eagle is designed for the high-altitude storm, for the fresh kill, and for the vision that spans miles. The reason you feel so suffocated and out of place is because you are trying to fit into a vulture culture. You are trying to explain the beauty of the sun to creatures that prefer the shadows of the valley. God is removing the vultures from your life because their low altitude thinking is literally making you spiritually sick. An eagle cannot reach its highest potential while trying to justify its wings to those who are content with the ground. The friction you feel is God ejecting you from the nest of the common. The isolation is God's way of forcing you to take flight. When you get high enough, the vultures can no longer follow you. The air becomes too thin for their lungs, and the vision becomes too bright for their eyes. They will call you arrogant, distant, or change. Let them. Their criticism is the proof that you have left the valley. Some people were only meant to be part of your ground story, not your flight story. God has cleared the sky so you can finally see that the only thing holding you down was the weight of the birds that were never meant to fly. Chapter 9. The Testing of the Heart, the Wilderness Audit. Isolation is the ultimate divine audit of your heart posture. Before God hands you the scepter of influence, He has to know, do you love the blessing more than the blesser? Will you still follow the path when there is no applause, no audience, no likes, and no one to witness your struggle? Most people are only spiritually active when they have an audience to impress. Their holiness is a performance, but a chosen soul is forged in the hidden places, where the only witness is the silent observer. This stage is a terrifying test of your internal validation. God is breaking your addiction to human approval. He is stripping away the pats on the back to see if you will collapse without them. If you cannot stay motivated in the dark, you are not ready to lead in the light. This is where God separates the fans from the followers. He is watching to see if you will keep the discipline, keep the prayer, and keep the hustle when the world has seemingly forgotten you exist. Once you realize that God's secret approval is worth more than the world's public ovation, you become an unstoppable force. You can no longer be manipulated by praise, and you can no longer be intimidated by criticism. You have passed the wilderness test. You have proven that your anchor is in the divine, not in the shifting sands of social status. The man or woman who has survived the silence of God and the absence of men is the only one God can trust with the volume of the world. Your isolation is the proof that you are being promoted to a level that requires a self-sustaining heart. Chapter 10. The Royal Replacement, the Luxury of Alignment. The final truth of this spiritual extermination is the most satisfying, yet the most demanding. God never subtracts without the absolute intention of adding. The void you are feeling right now is not an empty grave, it is a clean room. You cannot build a modern skyscraper on a lot cluttered with old, rotting shacks. The spiritual sweep was simply the land clearing phase of your destiny. God had to remove the leaking vessels and Judas figures because they would have been a catastrophic liability for the level of power He is about to release. Once the room is cleared, and once you have mastered the strength that only comes from the wilderness, the royal replacement begins. God is currently preparing a new circle for you, individuals who carry the same frequency, the same drive, and the same unshakable loyalty that you do. These are the divine partners who won't siphon your energy, they will multiply it. They won't envy your success, they will fund it. They won't try to edit your vision, they will help you build it. But these kingdom connections can only enter a sanitized space. If you are still clutching the trash of your past, there is no room for the treasures of your future. You have survived the isolation. You have passed the discernment test. Now, dry your eyes and straighten your back. The isolation season was your training. The empire season is your reality. You aren't just getting new friends, you are being handed a court. Every person at your new table will be there by divine decree, and for the first time in your life. You won't have to watch your back, because God has already vetted everyone in the room. The surgery is finished. The parasites are gone. The darkness that felt like a prison was actually a sanctuary. You spent so long mourning the loss of people who were never meant to see your finish line. You felt the pain of the knife, but you missed the healing hand of the surgeon. Today, the mourning ends. You are no longer the rejected one. You are the selected one. You were too big for the room, so God broke the walls. You were too loyal to the wrong people, so God broke the connection. Stop looking back at the burning bridges and start looking at the path ahead. The ground you are standing on is holy. The vision you are carrying is classified, and the God you serve is about to replace your loneliness with a legacy. The world thought you were cut off, but you were just being pruned, and every branch that was cut was just more fuel for the fire that is about to make you the most dangerous person the enemy has ever seen. The spiritual extermination is complete. Your throne is waiting. Comment, I embrace the new to lock in this transition. Share this with a chosen soul who is currently crying in the dark. And subscribe to join the inner circle of those who reign. The room is clear. The king is here. Step into your power. Amen.